Everyone, and welcome to our third video on how to use Chromebooks in the classroom and how to get accustomed to using Chromebooks, how to introduce yourself to using Chromebooks. And this video will talk a little bit about the Settings tab and also how to use the Chrome app launcher. Okay, so let's go back into the settings for a second. Remember, to access the settings, you can get to it through a certain areas. You can just click on that little icon where the time is, and you click the little gear box, and it goes to settings. Okay, and this is going to pop up as your settings area. Now, the other area you can get to it, you can also get to it from here, and you can type in settings. But what you can also do is go to your Chrome browser, right? This is like your basic Chrome browser you would use for searching and adding all your web and so forth that you're looking for. And if I go to settings down here, it brings up the exact same screen that you saw when we went to the little time area. Okay, so here it tells you what Wi-Fi network you're on. You could add a Wi-Fi connection. Maybe you're bringing a Chromebook home. You want to add your personal Wi-Fi connection onto it, or if you're out someplace. Okay, you can also about your Bluetooth, and everything's being synced, at least to my Google Clearance account. You can mess around with the screen, the pass lock. Some of this might be not enabled for district machines, okay, because they don't let you, mess around too much with the settings. Your wallpaper, you can customize the wallpaper. You can get some themes if you really wanted to add some themes to your Chromebooks and personalize it. That's more of a visual cosmetic aspect, so you can play around with that. This is what your home button will be. It's set default at clarenceschools.org. Okay, showing your bookmark bar and things like that, and font sizes and keyboard and power management. I mean, these are things that most of us don't really play around with too much, but you can see there's a lot of settings here that you can do. The display itself you can play around with, which is kind of nice. You can mess around with the resolution if you want to make it bigger or smaller on the screen. Your orientation, you can kind of mess around with the way it's displayed, which is kind of nice. Okay. So that's sort of a nice thing to keep in mind. Mine has a stylus. That's why I have a stylus on here. You can sort of play around with those settings. Okay. And the touchpad and the keyboard. Show Google Now cards. That's the Google Now feature. Enable OK Google to start a voice search. That's kind of nice. And when you do that, it's going to ask you to train your voice. Now, I'm not going to do it right now with you, but it will learn your voice. You can say OK Google, and then a search screen will pop up, and you can sort of ask Google a question to find something, and it will find it for you. That's also it's like the series of Apple. If you have an Apple phone, you use Siri. If you're an Android user like myself, you can just say OK Google on your phone. It does the exact same thing. You can also manage your search engines. If you want to have it different than Google or Yahoo or some of the other search engines out there, you can certainly do that. Not that why would you want to, but just a personal bias. Okay. And it's got some advanced features here, which you probably wouldn't use as much: date and time, some of your security features, and some other aspects. Those are all the actual settings. You can play around with that more where you want to. One thing here is kind of nice: downloads. You can change the location where you want your downloads to go. It defaults to your downloads folder, which is kind of nice if you really wanted to kind of play around with that. So those are your settings features, and you can click on there, and it will give you all the different areas of the settings, which you want to play around with. Okay, so that's kind of nice. All right, so those are your settings features. Now, what you're going to probably use more often is this app launcher. So if I go over here and I go to app launcher, you have a lot of apps around here that are already pre-installed. Now, what you can do on these first pages is you can sort of play around with them a little bit, and you can do certain things. One of the things I like to do is add certain apps to my shelf down here. And when you're on an app, on a Chromebook, I can't show it now. There is no buttons. There's only a trackpad. Okay, and I should probably do a separate video of this with my actual hand. But when you're on the actual trackpad, to right click, all you do is take two fingers and tap on it. All right, and I did that a little bit too quickly. Let me get out of there, because if you do that, it already pinned it. Sorry about that. So if you double tap slightly on the mouse pad, you get to and you press the mouse pad down, you get like your right click. If I do that, I can go pin to shelf, and now that file will always be here. Every time I open up my Chromebook, it will always be here. Now, for example, I can show you another one, Google Keep. It's like a note-taking app. Again, if I take two fingers and if I press down on the trackpad and actually click it, it will say right click, basically say pin to shelf. Now, every time I open up the Chromebook, those apps will always be on the bottom here. So that's a very sort of nice feature, okay? And again, if I go to all apps, now I see all the apps I have, and I can start moving my apps around. So what I did there was I took one finger and I touched it on the trackpad, and then with my right finger, I can move it now. So my left finger, I clicked and I'm holding down the trackpad. And my right finger now, I can move this around. I can organize this now. I can, see what I did? I didn't even do that on purpose, but if you put more than one app together, it creates a little, like I'm going to call it a folder or a drawer of those apps. And I could click on that, and then I could sort of remove that and I could put that out of there. So see how you can start customizing this. If I wanted to take that out, that little folder disappears. Do that again. Take it out of there. Oh, it won't let me do it. Let me just put it over here. Try it one more time. Okay, come on, get out of the drawer. There we go. And I put over there, then that whole entire little drawer disappears. So basically, you can start taking your apps and moving them around and basically making sure you can put them where you want to. So you can organize this. And as you add more apps, you're going to have more buttons down here if you have more pages of apps. So you can start moving them around, and you can start putting them into little like drawers or little folders and organizing those folders, which is really kind of nice. And I could I never tried to pin a whole folder to the shelf, and I don't think it's going to allow me to do that. No, it won't do that. But say you wanted to put an app down here, like say I wanted to do like this one. Get out of that for a second. Whoops. Bear with me. Let me go back to all my apps. And say I wanted to take just the web store. I can, again, my left finger, drag with my right now, drag it down. I can drag it out of there. And it's not letting me do this. The reason why is because I'm not opening it up. Let me go to all apps. There we go. Sorry about that. And I can now take this and I can drag it down to my shelf. And now I put it down there as well. And then even on your shelf, you can organize it, and you can start putting things in different orders on the bottom of here. Every time you change this, this will always stay like that. Now, one more thing I want to tell you about the shelf. If I just double tap right here, I can auto hide the shelf. I could put the shelf in a different position. Left will be on this side. I could put it on the other side, or I could just put it at the bottom. Okay. Now, a question I always get asked is, how come I can't put an app right here, right? And I wish I could. And once you do that, it just disappears. I just lost the drive. It didn't disappear completely. I had to go back into my, app launcher, hit this, then find drive, and either drag it down here, like I was just showing you, or take your two fingers and click down, and then I can pin it to the shelf, okay? And there are some options here when you do that. Let me just pin it to the shelf again. And if I double click again, it will open as a window, just come up, or there's some options then you could have here in your settings. It'll bring up your settings for the app as well as a web page, okay? So it's kind of a nice little feature as you're messing around with the settings issue and the Chrome app launcher. Okay, now one more thing. Let's go back into the settings. I went to the three little dots here. I'm in my Chrome browser. I'm in the three little dots. And again, you can mess around with the settings here. But there's more tools here. Okay, so you can add a web page right to the shelf. Okay, which is kind of a nice little thing. So let's say you're going to a website that you always use over and over and over again. And let's say it was just Clarence Schools. Maybe it's the clarenceschools.org page. And it could be your home screen. But what you can also have it do, and my connection is a little bit slow here because I'm doing a lot of recording, is I can hit the little three buttons, and I go to more tools, and then I can add it to the shelf. And what's going to happen is it's going to eventually, as the web page opens, it's going to add that little page down here to the actual shelf. It's just taking a long time because I'm on my home connection and I'm also recording my screen. But again, you could actually add a web page to your shelf as well. Okay, so those are the basic things. We talked about settings, and we also talked about the Chrome app launcher, and we talked about how to organize your shelf. Okay, so hope that made sense. Hope that was helpful. And if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day. Bye-bye.